Some countries impress you, but Switzerland feels unreal. It's the kind of place where mountains look too perfect to be real, lakes feel photoshopped, and even the train rides somehow feel like scenes from a movie. But here's the thing. Switzerland isn't just one beautiful destination. Every region feels completely different. One day, you're walking through a modern city beside crystal clear water, and the next, you're standing in a tiny village surrounded by waterfalls and snow-covered peaks. So if Switzerland is on your travel bucket list for 2026, this guide is going to save you a lot of time. Because today, we're exploring the most unforgettable places you absolutely shouldn't miss in Switzerland. And trust me, some of these places don't even feel real. Zurich, the perfect first stop. If you're visiting Switzerland for the first time, Zurich is the perfect place to begin. At first glance, it feels modern and polished. Luxury shopping, beautiful architecture, clean streets, and a city that somehow feels effortlessly organized. But Zurich becomes much more interesting once you slow down. Walk through the old town, and suddenly you're surrounded by narrow streets, historic buildings, hidden cafes, and riverside views that make even an ordinary walk feel memorable. Then there's Lake Zurich, peaceful, calm, and surprisingly relaxing. Whether you grab coffee nearby or simply sit beside the water, it's one of those places that quietly makes you appreciate being there. And as the sun sets, Zurich feels even better. City lights reflecting across the water, restaurants buzzing with life, and mountains sitting quietly in the distance. It's the perfect introduction to Switzerland. Lucerne, Switzerland in one picture. If Switzerland had a postcard version of itself, it would probably look like Lucerne. This city somehow combines everything people imagine when they think of Switzerland. Historic buildings, a peaceful lake, snow-covered mountains in the distance, and charming streets that feel almost too perfect. One of Lucerne's biggest highlights is the famous Chapel Bridge, a beautiful wooden bridge that instantly gives the city its fairy tale atmosphere. But honestly, the best part of Lucerne is simply walking around. You don't need a complicated plan here. Grab coffee, walk by the lake, watch swans glide across the water, and just take in the views, because somehow everything here feels calm. Interlaken, where adventure meets beauty. If Lucerne feels peaceful, Interlaken feels exciting. Surrounded by mountains and sitting between two stunning lakes, this is one of Switzerland's most famous adventure destinations. And even if adventure isn't your thing, the scenery alone makes it worth visiting. The lakes here almost don't look real. Bright shades of blue surrounded by dramatic mountain views. Interlaken is also known for activities like paragliding, hiking, and scenic train rides. And honestly, even watching people paraglide over mountains feels unforgettable. But what makes this place truly special is location. Because Interlaken becomes the gateway to some of Switzerland's most breathtaking experiences, including the next destination on this list. Lauterbrunnen, the village that feels unreal. There are beautiful places. And then there's Lauterbrunnen, a tiny village hidden between massive cliffs and surrounded by waterfalls. The first thing you notice here is the atmosphere. It feels peaceful, quiet, almost dreamlike. Waterfalls fall from impossible heights, while tiny houses sit beneath giant mountains that seem too dramatic to exist. One of the village's most famous sights is Staubbach Falls, a waterfall dropping from high above the valley in a way that honestly feels cinematic. But Lauterbrunnen isn't really a place you rush through. You slow down here, walk quietly, take in the scenery, maybe sit somewhere for a few minutes and simply appreciate what you're seeing, because places like this are rare. Jungfraujoch, the top of Europe. Now, if there's one experience in Switzerland that feels unforgettable, it's Jungfraujoch. often called the top of Europe. And honestly, getting there is half the experience. The journey takes you high into the Alps aboard one of the most scenic train rides in the world. Outside the window, valleys slowly disappear and snow-covered mountains take over the landscape. And then suddenly, you arrive. Standing here feels surreal. Massive glaciers stretch into the distance, while icy mountain peaks surround you in every direction. The air feels colder, the silence feels bigger, and for a moment, everything feels still. Yes, it's popular. Yes, it can be expensive. But if Switzerland is a bucket list trip for you, this is one experience that feels worth it. Grindelwald, Switzerland's fairy tale village. Some places feel beautiful. Grindelwald feels magical. Surrounded by dramatic mountain scenery, this village feels like something straight out of a movie. Tiny wooden homes, massive peaks in every direction, and views that somehow look incredible no matter where you stand. What makes Grindelwald special is how peaceful it feels. There's no pressure to rush, no need for a packed itinerary. Sometimes the best thing to do here is simply slow down. Grab coffee, walk around, look up at the mountains, and quietly appreciate where you are. Because in Grindelwald, even doing nothing feels memorable. And finally, there's Zermatt, a mountain village famous for one of the most recognizable peaks in the world, the Matterhorn. Even if you've never heard the name before, there's a good chance you've seen the mountain. Sharp, dramatic, almost perfectly shaped, and somehow even more impressive in person. But Zermatt itself deserves attention too. The village feels cozy, peaceful, and surprisingly luxurious. Small cafes, wooden chalets, quiet streets, fresh mountain air, and views that never stop reminding you exactly where you are. At sunset, the Matterhorn begins glowing under warm light, and suddenly, the entire place feels unforgettable. Switzerland is one of those rare places that somehow exceeds expectations. Whether it's mountain villages, scenic train rides, peaceful lakes, or landscapes that honestly don't feel real, this country leaves an impression. And the truth is, photos never fully capture what it feels like to stand there in person. So, which place would you visit first? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this guide, don't forget to subscribe for more incredible travel destinations from around the world. Because trust me, we're only getting started.